What is the highest elevation tree in the world? I already asked the same question for the northernmost tree in the world, but this time I wanted to find the one that has the highest elevation. I had three main candidates: East Africa, the Himalayas, and the Andes. Check to see which one will be the highest. Out of those three options, the first I want to consider is the Himalayas, specifically China, Nepal, and Bhutan. Um, Now don't mind about this marker. This marker is just about somewhere where I want to go, because just look at how beautiful it is here. So, yeah, I'm just gonna look for trees here, and let's actually start with China. I don't think any mountains here are really gonna be tall enough, so I think we'll just start looking here in the highest part of the mountains. How about just right here? There we go. Trees found. And that's an elevation of about 3,200 meters. So that's good. How about further up here? I would assume that, actually, no, those are trees. Let me see if they're also confirmed on Street View. No, not on Street View, which is strange. Okay. But this photo right here shows trees. But right here, and those are trees. Those are definitely trees, which is good. So this definitely is a forested place, which is good. At least there are trees here. But it seems like very high up the mountains, there are absolutely nothing. Oh, actually, well, the trees do get kind of high up the mountains. Let me see where that is. Where was that photosphere? It was right here. So if I go into satellite view, yeah, you do kind of see that these trees, they do go quite high up the mountain. These are still trees. These are still trees. I think these are still trees right here. But it looks like they kind of stop right here. Right here. This tree. Well, that kind of looks more like a lake. But we know there are trees here. What's their elevation? About, wow, that's crazy. 4,650 meters-ish. That's pretty cool. Save it to favorites, and yeah, we'll see. So now we can finally see what elevation they're at exactly, and that's gonna be about, yeah, between 4,600 and 4,700 meters. So that's already pretty good, but we'll see if we can get any higher. This over here must just be a glitch. Yeah. Let's just look for more photospheres. This one looks nice over this lake, and there are trees here. Hello. How far do the trees go up these mountains here? It's just gonna be a lot of searching and scanning to see how tall are these mountains anyways. This valley right here gets up to 4,400. This one right here gets pretty high. Let's go into satellite view now. That's trees, confirmed. And those are still trees, those are still trees, and they appear to stop right there, I'd say. So I'll save it to favorites. And let's look at terrain. It's between 4,400 and 4,600. Between four, so not even that high. I think what I'll do is I am fine with this for China, but I'm gonna go to Bhutan and Nepal to see if I can find anything higher. So, I'll try looking by Mount Everest first. I know there are trees here because I have seen them before. These are trees, not bushes. I thought that was a ski chairlift. So I'm not sure about what's up with this valley, but this valley looks pretty promising. I'm just gonna see. That's some very steep slopes, but are there actually any trees here? Because these are bushes. How about right here? There's a little hut. Doesn't appear to be anything down this valley, but it is very beautiful. So I guess that's a plus. But these are trees right here, but I guess they just stop at some point. And how high is this? This is only 3,900 meters. It's not even that high at all. How about this lake? Probably won't have anything at all. Yeah, it's just a little bit too snowy here. Which is kind of sad, but none of these valleys look especially green either. Like here, yeah, it's just mainly desert because we're getting closer to Tibet. So the next, I might as well just look at this valley here because I have something marked here, so I have seen this area before. Specifically this valley, it's decently close to like the ocean. Like it's in terms of the highest mountain ranges, this is an extremely high mountain range for being this close to the ocean. So yeah, I'm gonna see if there's anything. I go back into terrain mode. How about this mini lake? Oh wow, trees. That's good. Oh wow. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Wow. Oh, I'm gonna host this as an open guesser competition. Okay. I do go pretty high. I'm gonna try to find that one right there. See where it is. It's probably like up here. Let me just look in this valley. Annapurna base camp. No photos. So these are still trees up to there. That's a tree. That's a tree. And I think those are bushes. So let me mark this as a tree and save it to favorites. Then we can see its elevation. That's around only 4,000 meters. It's not that high. How about further up the valley? This is only at 4,100 meters. Well, there is a good photo. We can use some zooming on this to help. Very beautiful valley. There's lots of snow everywhere. It's kind of a little bit blurry on the right side of the screen, so we'll keep looking. How about this Himalayan View Hotel? Do they have any trees? It appears that by that point it's already all desert by there. So how about this hotel? So I guess that's good. Can we get some street view confirmation that that's the highest? This is taken in October, so it looks dry. That's just a rock. Yeah, I think that right here, this, unless maybe there's some trees higher up, like, this is a lot of snow for February, wow. I think this Hotel Yak, they already planted that tree there, and that's only at a height of 4,100 meters, so, like, it does show that up to this peak of this mountain, it is green, but I'm not sure if that's actually trusted. Because on Google Maps, it says that this entire area is green, but all it is just grass. It's not really bush, it's not really trees. But that's still beautiful. So, yeah. I don't think there are going to be any trees here. I think it's just a little bit too harsh in Nepal. So we do have this option though. I did consider China to be higher just because, well, this is closer to the equator, but the mountains are less high in China, so more moisture can come in. So, yeah. What I'm going to try now is I'm going to try East Africa, which I said was my second option. Specifically, we'll start with Mount Kilimanjaro. So, I would assume that by the top, yeah, they don't have any trees expected. But how about, like, further down? Barafu Camp, still rocky, but at least it's not snowing down here. So, wherever it's not snowing, that's good. This is already 3,800, so no point to look. How about right here, Barranco Camp? There is sort of moss. Oh, that's a tree right there. So, let me just see. That's a tree. Camera is a little bit tilted and it is dark, but that right there is a tree, which I think I can correspond to this one right here. So what elevation is this on? Let's see. It's at only 4,000 meters, so China's still winning. And I don't think there's going to be anything else here. Like, in order to get 4,800 meters, you would have to be, like, at least this high on the volcano. And when you go that high on the volcano, this is all you're met with. So, yeah, I can clearly tell that this is an edited photosphere. Because this is definitely not Tanzania. But, yeah. It appears that there are no trees on Mount Kilimanjaro that are notable. Alright, after looking through every single volcano and high peak in Tanzania, besides this one, but I don't think this one's going to be high enough, yep. There are not any trees on any of them, which moves me on to my second idea, which is Mount Kenya. My dad has climbed Mount Kenya, and yep, he told me there were palm trees everywhere, so that's good. Very contrasting scene to see all this snow and then just palm trees. Basically the equator. So let's go to the very end of this. Okay, so there are palm trees, but they go up really far up the valley. Wow. Let's go to this campsite. Just a normal site. So how far up exactly do they go? Because I know the summit of Mount Kenya is just, yeah. There's no trees up here at all. It's kind of hard to see down in the valley if there is anything. So this is most likely just going to be a snowy glacier. I don't think there's going to be anything on this side. It's not high enough. So how high do we need to get? 4,800? Only the summit is that high. But I'm just going to look at satellite view to see just how high these go. How about this strand? This strand is already too high for palm trees to grow, I would think. This is just a little bit, unless those are palm trees over there. But it's kind of hard to think that the highest altitude tree would also be a palm tree. All right, let's see. So these are palm trees. These are palm trees. This lake definitely has some. Does this lake have any? Doesn't appear to be so. This lake definitely has some. That's a tree right there. But I think they kind of stopped by that point. So I know this lake has some because this green right here. So I'm just gonna put a marker there. See how high it is. It's not going to be higher than the one in China. Only 4,400 to 4,500 meters. How high was the one in China again? Just double checking. That one was 4,600 to 4,700. So we need something above 4,700, since this is only 4,000. I really thought Nepal would do better. And this is 4,000 also. And now this is a little bit better. This is 4,400 to 4,500. So yeah, my last thought here, let me just double check that this is the volcano. How high does it get? Not high enough. So my last thought was to check this mountain right here, this national park. I think this is the highest peak in Uganda, I believe. Yes, Margarita Peak. This is a lot of snow for Uganda. So let's check this street view photo right here. Wow, that's really nice. I'm discovering so many cool places on here. I also want to put this into want to go. That is very beautiful. Let's check the photos of this hut. So no trees, but that is just a very weirdly shaped mountain. And the glacier in the back too. It's very strange to be Uganda. There are palm trees right here, but I can't exactly tell where on the trail that is. This is closer to the bottom. I never knew Uganda had this high mountains. That's extremely impressive. Some more palm tree forests. It looks like the camp itself, actually, right there, off to the side, there are some. So let's go into satellite view, my best friend. Satellite view is a little bit too dark. And of course, a cloud had to be passing over exactly when they took the photo. So it's impossible to tell off of satellite view, but off of photos, there's a palm tree about right here, which is at a height of 4,500 to 4,600 again. I don't think there's going to be really anything higher. It was like, by the time that you reach the peak, it's just too rocky, as you see. So yeah, it was a good try though. So like, still pretty high. But China is still winning. Now tied with Uganda. Starting with, I'm just gonna try going north to south through the countries. So starting with Colombia. This is just gonna be a long process of searching up the highest mountain in each country. For Colombia, it's this one, Pico Cristobal Colon, and going into Street View and scanning for images around it to see if it'll be high enough, and then eventually going into satellite view to confirm. Those are trees there. I'm just gonna see how high I can follow the trees up in this valley. Problem with satellite views, you can't tell if anything's a tree or a bush until you actually see it in a photo. So I'm gonna call this as the line right here as the highest point that I can find as a tree, and that's not even 4,000 meters, so that's not really gonna work. The peak itself is only 5,600 meters, so I never expected it to work in the first place. This green area on Google Maps only really goes up to about 4,400, so I don't think it's gonna work. I'm gonna remove this from my favorites. Alright, I have searched through the top 5 highest mountains in Colombia. None of them seem to be good. Venezuela, I think, isn't gonna work either, because the mountains just don't get high enough. I'm not sure exactly what their highest peak is, but it's definitely not above 5,000 meters. So yeah, I guess next is Ecuador. So Ecuador has a bunch of volcanoes. So I'll start with I think Cayembe is a little bit too snowy, but I'll see if I can find anything. Actually, this valley looks kind of promising. Just the glaciers in the distance, love to see it. The summit itself is going to be way too snowy. Yeah, this is definitely not going to have any trees. Unless that's a tree that lost all of its leaves. Not going to work. So, how about this volcano here? Is this high enough? No. Is this one high enough? No. Is this one high enough? This one is high enough. But normally the ones that are high enough are just, look at how steep that is. There's no way trees can grow on something that steep. That's why I don't think the Andes could do that well. It's because they're just too steep. Unless the summit, yeah, I don't think there's going to be anything there. And that's basically already taking us to Peru. I checked basically every single volcano in Ecuador, I guess besides this one, but this one isn't high enough. And there's basically nothing, so that takes us to Peru. Alright, in Peru, I just searched up the highest mountain. I believe it's this one right here. 6,700 meters. That looks good. So that's really high. So, like, is there a street view on this road? There is. There are trees here. I was worried most of Peru wouldn't really have trees because it's also a drier country overall. And just normally in Peru you have those very, very steep rocky mountains. How about this? Yeah. Like, you can look out into the valley. It's just like, when you look out into the valley, it's very dry everywhere. So, like, it's basically impossible for trees to grow. How about this road? Oh, my mom would love driving on that. Doesn't appear to be... There's vegetation. It's like, I'm pretty sure we'd consider these trees, but what's the point? They're only at 4,000. Yeah, so it doesn't really work. So this is very beautiful, but like, there's just no trees until you get further down, so I don't think it's gonna work. This is already not high enough. So, satellite view time. I don't think there's gonna be anything on this side. This is just a glacier here, but it's always worth it to check. So, the trees immediately get up to the top of this slope, which is 4,500, so not that bad. These are bushes. I would classify those as bushes. So 4,500 for Peru, kind of pretty much what I expected. I don't expect there to be anything higher than this this tree right here. Of course, there is no way to confirm that those are trees, but it's the highest peaks of Peru, and this is a little bit too snowy there. The problem is the further south that you get, the more snowy that it gets. And something drier like Bolivia could work because the mountains are still extremely tall, but they are kind of in a desert. And this problem with Chile, I was going to scan Chile, but just look at how many volcanoes there are. I don't think I have enough time to scan all those, and plus it just gets more snow. So I was thinking something like around this area, like it's salt flat, but yeah, they're not going to be any trees in a salt flat, but what I was trying to say is like something like that is already adapted to some climate like this, which is extremely dry, wouldn't really care if it got up to higher elevations. In fact, it would love going up to higher elevations because at higher elevations, there would be snow, which by the time it would have hit the ground below, it probably would have already evaporated. Not evaporated, but it wouldn't really exactly hit the ground. So yeah, I think the highest mountains in Bolivia are right outside La Paz. I believe this one right here, I think, is the highest mountain in Bolivia. So I'll just look around there. How about this lake? There are bushes here. Not that bad. This could almost be mistaken for Canada. Of how snowy it is there. How about right here? It's already too low. That's the problem with most of the stuff that I'm facing. It's just too low. How about right here? It's just moss and a solid rock wall. All right, satellite view time. As you can see, it's very dry. Which I personally think is a plus because trees, as I said, survive better when they're more adjusted to their climate, but at these elevations it seems to be more hindering than helping. The thing is, the more closer you get to the other side of the mountains, the more trees you have, because of course it's the Amazon starting to seep in. Like, those don't even get that high. That only gets to like 4,100. So let's try the absolute highest peaks of Bolivia, just like right here. That's extremely high, but like, is there any photos of this mountain? No. Yeah, that's the main problem. There's just not that many people who go out and take photos of trees. I wonder why. Something like this would be good, except it's just not high enough. Like, I bet there are trees. They're not, but I bet there are, just not good enough. So I'm going to be right back. I'm going to scan through every single one of these volcanoes in Bolivia. As I said, I'm not going to do Chile, but I'm going to scan through every single one of these volcanoes in Bolivia that are high enough, and I'll be right back with what I find. Well, this one isn't high enough, so this one does look fairly high. This one's also high enough, so no street view on either of them. 5,200 meters, absolutely nothing. Oh, that's the other one over there. Doesn't look like it has anything either. How about further down, like here? There is grass. About right here. There is even more grass. Do we consider those bushes or trees? Kind of hard to tell. How about even further? Those are trees, right? Those are trees, for sure. Let me see if I can find them on satellite to confirm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure those are trees. How high are they? How high are they? 4,900 meters. Okay. That immediately breaks the record of China, so I think Bolivia is our final answer. I'll be back in a little bit to verify my answer and to give a summary. All right, everyone, that was a very interesting challenge, and I'm here to sum it up. So in first place, we have the Saham volcano in Bolivia at a height of about 4,900 meters. In second place, which is in the Himalayas, is this tree in China which is at a height about 4,600 to 4,700 meters. And Nepal, the trees actually did not go that high, only to 4,000 meters. In Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro surprisingly only got to 4,000 meters. Mount Kenya did do a little bit better though, as it got up to 4,500 meters. And Uganda surprisingly did the best out of all of them, as it got to a height of 4,700 meters, or 4,600 approximately. And in South America, Peru got second place with this tree right here at a height of about 4,500 meters. So yeah, for the tree in Bolivia, I managed to find what species it was, which is this right here. And I found a photo of it. As you can see, it says 4,875 meters right there. So I was correct. Yeah, so here it is. It's the Polypepis rugulosa. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.